There are five main methods of factoring. First one is GCF, greatest common factor. You always try to do this. Most of the time you just mentally look at it and see if they have something in common. Our next method is grouping. That's 4 or more terms. PSD is 3 terms, a trinomial of the form x squared plus bx plus c. The important part there is you got x squared, x, no number in front of your x squared. Then the key number. Key number is 3 terms, trinomial, of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. The important part here is we've got x squared, x, no x, and there's a number in front of our x squared. And then the last method is difference 2 squares, 2 terms of minus 3. Well, let's take a look at the key number method. Let's start with this problem. So we got 3x squared minus 11x minus 20. And I want to factor it. Well, first thing I notice is there's no GCF. I start going down through my list. Groupings, 4 more terms. No, that doesn't fit. PSD doesn't fit because there's a number in front of your x squared. Key number. X squared, x, no x. There's a number in front of your x squared. So this is key number. With key number, we take the number at the beginning times the number at the end, ignoring signs. So we take 3 times 20, we give 60. So number at the beginning, what's before x squared, and number at the end, the 20. Then we're going to create 3 columns. P column, an S column, and a D column. Now the P stands for product, the S stands for sum, and the D stands for difference. So in the P column, we're going to list all products give us 60. Well, we got 1 times 60, 2 times 30, 3 times 20, 4 times 15, 5 times 12, 6 times 10, I think that's it, yeah. In the sum column, we're going to add these numbers together. 1 plus 60 gives us 61, 2 plus 30 gives us 32, 3 plus 20 is 23, 4 plus 15 is 19, 5 plus 12 is 17, 6 plus 10 is 16. In the difference column, we'll subtract smaller from larger. 60 minus 1 is 59, 30 minus 2 is 28, 20 minus 3 is 17, 15 minus 4 is 11, 12 minus 5 is 7, 10 minus 6 is 4. Now the number we're looking for is a number in our middle term, which is right here. So we're looking for 11. Well, here's 11. So we're going to use 4 and 15. Now we're going to rewrite our middle term using those 2 numbers. So the 3x squared just carries down, negative 20 carries down, but we're going to rewrite the negative 11x. Now we got a note to help us with our signs. It says the larger number in the P column that we are using is always the same sign as the middle term. I know you probably can't read my writing, but if I heard my voice, I know what it says. Larger number in the P column that we're using is always the same sign as the middle term. The numbers we're using are 4 and 15. The larger number of those is the 15. It will always be the same sign as the middle term up here, which in this problem was negative. So we're going to have negative 15x. Now if the number you circled is in the S column, this right here, then S for same signs, both positive or both negative. If the number you circled is in the difference column, the D column, then there'll be different signs. It means one will be positive and one will be negative. Well, the number we circled is in the difference column, which means there'll be different signs. Since the 15 was negative, that means the 4 will be positive. Now we want to use factoring by grouping. So group first 2 together, group last 2 together. The first 2 have a 3x in common. So I'll factor that out. 3's gone, that leaves me 1x there, minus 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that x is gone. Now our second group have a 4 in common, so I'll factor that out. and that gives us x minus 5. Now our goal here was to get this parentheses the same as this parentheses, which it is. So I'll factor the x minus 5 out in front. And to decide what goes in your second set of parentheses, you can now cross out these x minus 5s. And what isn't crossed out is what goes in your second set of parentheses, which would be 3x plus 4. And that's our answer. Let's take a look at our next example. We've got 28 y squared minus y minus 2. Different variables, but still the same idea. We start going down through our list. GCF, nothing. Groupings, 4 more terms, no. PST's close. We have y squared y, no y, but there's a number in front of our y squared. Key number, y squared y, no y, there's a number in front of your y squared. Key number, again, we take the number at the beginning times the number at the end, ignoring signs. So we take 28 times 2, this number times this number, and that gives us 56. We'll come up with our 3 columns. We'll write down all products give us 56. We got 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 3, no, 4 times 14, 5, no, 6, no, 7 times 8. Guess that's it. Then the S column, we're going to add these together. 1 plus 56 is 57, 2 plus 28 is 30, 4 plus 14 is 18, 7 plus 8 is 15. Difference column, we'll subtract smaller from larger. 56 minus 1 is 55, 28 minus 2 is 26, 14 minus 4 is 10, 8 minus 7 is 2. Number we're looking for is a number in our middle term, which is the invisible 1 here. And looks like I just subtracted those wrong. Let's try that again. 8 minus 7 is 1. Can't do basic math. That's pretty sad. Okay. This method always works, by the way. Since I didn't see a 1, I knew I'd done something wrong. Okay, so there's my 1. I'm going to use 7 and 8. First term and last term remain as is. And we're going to rewrite our middle term using these 2 numbers. Our larger number in the P column, which is the 8, this is the larger number we're using. The larger number in the P column that we're using is the 8, which will always be the same sign as the middle term, which in this problem was negative. The number has circles in the difference column, D for different signs. So if the 8 is negative, then the 7 has to be positive. Now I want to factor by grouping. First group looks like they're both divisible by 4 and they both have a y. So GCF is 4y. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Took one of those y's away, so it leaves us a single y. Minus 8 divided by 4 is 2, and that y is gone. Now the second group has nothing in common, but if they have nothing in common, you can always factor out an invisible 1. So it becomes a 1. So that gives us 7y minus 2. I know that seems weird, how you just throw 1 in there, but it's implied anyway, if we were to factor something out. Now our goal was to get this parentheses same as this, which it is. So I'll factor out a 7y minus 2, and to decide what goes in your second set of parentheses, you can cross out the 7y minus 2's. And that gives us 4y plus 1. And that's our answer. Let's take a look at this next problem. It's our new page. And we've got 14r squared plus 39r plus 10. Okay, GCF. There isn't any. Groupings, 4 more terms. No, doesn't fit. Key or PSD is close, but there's a number in front of our r squared. Key number. We have r squared, r, no r, number in front of our r squared. So that's what tells us to use key number. So we'll take our number at the beginning times the number at the end. So we've got 14 times 10 gives us 140. We'll write down all products give us 140. 1 times 140, 2 times 70, 3, no. 4 times something. Let's see, 12, 25, 0, 2, yeah. 5 times 28. 6, no. 7 times 20. 8, no. 9, no. 10 times 14. 11, no. 12, no. 13, no. Okay, now we're going to add these. 1 plus 140 is 141. 2 plus 70 is 72. 4 plus 35 is 39. 5 plus 28 is 33. 7 plus 20 is 27. 10 plus 14 is 24. Subtract. Smaller from larger. 140 minus 1 is 139. 70 minus 2 is 68. 35 minus 4 is 31. 28 minus 5 is 23. 20 minus 7 is 13. 14 minus 10 is 4. I don't always, but I kid my class sometimes. I say, well, how many of these do you have to add and subtract correct and get all the products and so forth? And they'll say, well, every one of them. And I say, no, that's not quite true. Just the one we're looking for. We're looking for the number in front of our R in this problem, which is 39, which I have here. So hopefully I got multiplied and added everything correctly here. So we're going to use 4 and 35. So we got 14r squared plus 10. And we're going to rewrite our middle term using these two numbers. The larger number that we're using, which is 35, will always be the same sign as the middle term, which in this problem is positive. So we've got plus 35r. The number has circles in the S column, S for same sign, so 35 is positive, the 4 has to be positive. And let me write that a little bit neater. Not that my writing's that great to begin with, but there we go. Now we're going to factor by grouping. Group first two together, group last two together. First two are both divisible by 7, and they have an r. So that gives us 2r plus 5. Now second group, both divisible by 2, so I factor 2 out, and that gives us 2r plus 5. Now our goal was to get this parentheses the same as that, and they are. So I'll factor it out. So I got 2r plus 5. And to decide what goes in your second set of parentheses, you can cross out the 2r plus 5s. And that gives you 7r plus 2. And that's your answer. Just hand was getting sore. I had to massage it for a minute. There we go. Let's take a look at another one. We got 4m. If it didn't massage it long enough, try that again. 4m squared plus 19mn minus 5n squared. Now, first thing is GCF. I notice they don't have anything in common, but I would always try to factor that off first. Now, m squared, m, no m, number in front of our m squared. That fits our form. Has some extra variables, but that's okay. We're looking for a variable, whatever you pick. In this case, this is m. So you get m squared, m, no m, number in front of our m squared. That's key number. So I take our number at the beginning times the number at the end. 4 times 5 gives us 20. Come up with our 3 columns. We write down all products give us 20. We got 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. I think that's everything. Add them. 1 plus 20 is 21. 2 plus 10 is 12. 4 plus 5 is 9. Subtract them. 20 minus 1 is 19. 10 minus 2 is 8. 5 minus 4 is 1. Number we're looking for is a number in a middle term, which is 19, which is right here, which means we use 120. So we've got 4m squared minus 5n squared. And we're going to rewrite our middle term using those two numbers. The larger number that we're using, which is the 20, will always be the same sign as the middle term, which in this problem was positive. So we've got positive 20 mn. Number with circles in the difference column, D for different signs. So if the 20 is positive, the 1 has to be negative. So we've got minus 1 mn. Now notice the only difference here is we got 2 variables on the middle term. We just put 2 variables here. Then we'll factor by grouping. The first group has a 4 and a m in common, and that gives us m plus 5n. Second group, they both have an n, and the first term is negative. So I'll factor out a negative n. A negative's gone, 1 doesn't do anything. N's gone, so it leaves us m. When you factor out a negative, it flips your sign, so this becomes a positive 5, and one of those n's is gone. Goal was to get the m plus 5n the same. These parentheses anyway, I should say. So we'll factor that out in front. Now to decide what goes in your second set of parentheses, you can now cross out the m plus 5n's. And what isn't crossed out is what goes right here, which would be 4m minus n. And that's our answer. Start a new page. And let's look at our last problem. 24x squared minus 11x plus 1. Okay, well first off, I noticed there's no GCF, but I always look for that. Groupings, 4 more terms, that doesn't fit. PST is close, except for it's got a number in front of the x squared. Key number, we have x squared, x, no x, and there's a number in front of our x squared. So again, we're going to use key number in this one. We'll take our number at the beginning times the number at the end, so 24 times 1. That gives us 24. Come up with our 3 columns. We write down all products give us 24. We got 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Add them together, S for sum. 1 plus 24 is 25, 2 plus 12 is 14, 3 plus 8 is 11, 4 plus 6 is 10. Difference, we'll subtract them. 24 minus 1 is 23, 12 minus 2 is 10, 8 minus 3 is 5, 6 minus 4 is 2. Number we're looking for is a number in a middle term, which is 11, which is right here, which means we use 3 and 8. So I got 24x squared plus 1 over here. We rewrite our middle term using these 2 numbers. The larger number in a p column that we're using, which is the 8, will always be the same size as the middle term, which in this problem was negative. Number I circles in the S column. S for same signs. Means they're both positive, both negative. Since the 8 was negative, then the 3 has to be negative. Want to factor by grouping. First group has an 8 and an x in common, and that gives us 3x minus 1. Second group has nothing in common, but my first term is negative, so I'll factor out a negative 1. And that gives us 3x minus 1. Now our goal was to get this parentheses same as that, which it is. So I'll factor out the 3x minus 1. Now to decide what goes in your second set of parentheses, you just cross out the 3x minus 1s here. And that'll leave you 8x minus 1. And that's your answer. And I believe that's the last problem. Let me check. Yeah, it was.